Thank you. Yes, I am the better half of the universe. Anyway, I'm here as a resident first. We live at 35617 North 136th Street. Yeah, sorry. And 136th Street, that's where we are. We've raised our family here. Both my kids were born out here. And it's been a beautiful thing. And just a little history for my husband and I is we've been entrepreneurs forever. And when we came out here, we were told about a well, tried to dig a well. There's no way on my property that I would be able to get a well, and there was no way we could afford to dig to start at 1,200 feet. So we were like, okay, so what is our alternative? Just like everybody else, you call around, how do you get water, what do you do? And so hauled water. So we had people hauling our water when we first moved out here. And then I told my husband, I said, hey, we could do this, because he was in a different kind of business, and I was worried about his health with the other business, so we thought this would be a good transition. So we tried it, and we started out very small with a little truck and trailer, and he worked long hours, very hard, and then we grew. As the community grew, we grew. So we went from a little 1,700-gallon tanker to 6 big trucks. So we grew as the community grew and provided as the community needed. And at this point in time now, as you know, we've gotten a lot of new people out here, and a lot of building continues in this community. Way more than our utilities. We have no utilities right now, but I'm just saying more than so we've got 3 water haulers that actually haul in our community. And we've been around the longest. One of them was here, there was someone else here from another area, and they were coming out back and forth, and they stopped hauling as we grew bigger and bigger, and then we just flourished, which is a wonderful thing for us. And so we were able to provide water for the families out here and ourselves. Now we're in a situation where my kids are older now, so they're finding their pathway, and they're also interested in, they do help us operate our business because it's a lot of work. And so all 4 of us work this business pretty much day and night. And it's part of my life because I love working with my family, and I love the community, and I love where we live. And so I would love to see it flourish. My concerns right now are that we do need this short-term interim water solution. There are other plans out there for a long-term, which I have no issue with. But when you look at the numbers of what Scottsdale is proposing and what EPCOR has proposed, those numbers are very close. And as a water hauler, I can tell you the prices for delivery will be about the same right now. Okay, so right now, some of you are paying, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, I don't know what you're all paying, but I know from my business. But we're looking at a number of at least half that for a delivery. So for those of you who are concerned about whether it's Scottsdale or EPCOR, that pricing is going to be pretty much the same.
That's not true.
It is for us. Okay? So you can keep your comments for after and ask questions later. But for now, I'm sorry. Can you hold your comments till the end? Thank you. So for now, I guess we're urging everyone to support the Board of Supervisors. They've been given a proposal from Scottsdale to come to the table and agree, disagree, whatever it is, but at least come to the table. You can't have a negotiation without somebody sitting there. This he said, she said, I left a phone message or an email doesn't work. You make an appointment, you sit down at the table, and you discuss it, and you figure it out. Because who's being hurt? Us. We're all being hurt. Me too. I'm on water too. I wait until everybody else has to get their water, because that's how I am. I'm not going to take it from somebody else. So as you guys are being frugal, so are we. All right? It works for everybody. And the only reason we're here right now is because everybody is doing a phenomenal job at being frugal. And I commend you all for that. I think you're doing a great job. Does it hurt our bottom line? Sure it does. Why? Because we're not delivering as much, we're not making as much. Even though the water cost is higher, our deliveries are way less than what they used to be. So that's the reality of it, which is fine, because we want people to be able to live. That's the whole idea. So if we get this agreement, and they cut the water, I mean, it's closer where it was before, that's gonna cut down our fuel and our time and our payroll and our exposure out there for insurance, because we're not on the road as much and going so far on highways and, and other places. So it will definitely have an impact. So I urge all of you to write and get involved and let the Board of Supervisors know that you request them to meet with Scottsdale. Make an agreement. I think that's it.
Thank you, Lori. Next we have Mark Fink. Mark Fink?
Yeah, we'll try. Testing. Okay, got it. Good evening, everybody. I'm here just to kind of just say a couple words. We've been out here 15 years. We are on hauled water, so we feel the pain that everybody else here is feeling. Did Mike leave, who spoke first? Too bad. I was going to tell him I love him, but so I think my point is that when this initially started, I thought, well, this is kind of a no-brainer. Full disclosure, I'm a research scientist, okay? So I'm a numbers facts guy. But the point is, when this started, I thought, this is a no-brainer, that something's got to happen here. And then I watch it basically disintegrate. And I hear the same people saying the same stuff. A fair amount is frankly nothing more than their opinion. And I first thought, well, yeah, just go talk on Facebook or whatever, not my favorite medium. But then I said, no, I'm gonna start disputing stuff that's being said, because the same people are being quoted, the media goes to the same people, the Board of Supervisors talks about the same people, and at one point I said, no, they are not our representatives. They're residents. They are allowed to have an opinion. It doesn't have to be my opinion, but they are allowed to have an opinion, okay? But they don't represent every member in this community. And those of you who feel like I do need to start stepping up. Get on Facebook. Make your point heard. Write to the Board of Supervisors. Write to the state legislatures. They've been super helpful. I've written to every one of those people. Most of them actually respond. Talk to the media. I've written to the Arizona Republic. Talked to several reporters. Please get involved. Don't wait for the next person to speak up. We all need to speak up, okay? One last little point. I built a little spreadsheet when we were chatting about this that allows somebody to calculate the cost if you wish to try and self-haul. You can put in the cost of water, the cost of gas, your mileage, depreciation, how big your tank is, how far you're driving, and it'll spit out your true cost of water. So that's not to say you should or you shouldn't have self-haul. Again, I'm a research scientist. These are the numbers, put them in front of you, make your decision. That's all I have to say. Please get involved. Don't wait for somebody else to speak for you, please.
Thank you, Mark. And next, Lee Harris.
I'm Lee Harris. Most of you probably know me since I've been at a fair amount of meetings trying to put across what it's like to be living on rainwater for the last 73 days My family and I have been camping in the house like so many of you, not being able to shower at our own home for almost 3 months. No fluffy hair. How about that? Thankfully, we've got friends in Scottsdale and Fountain Hills that allow us to shower in their facilities. That's pretty tough. We haven't used the dishwasher in 3 months. Been using picnic, stuff, paper plates, plastic cutlery, all of that stuff. Flushing the toilets. We turned off everything in the house that would feed water into a faucet. And then we've been using rainwater to do everything else. Everything. As a heady thing. And I know each and every one of you have been joining us in this. It stinks. Literally stinks to go that long without showering. Am I pissed off? Yeah. But so is most of the people here who are like us, who live on hauled water for one reason or another. We happen to have wells that went dry in our neighborhood about 7-8 years ago. We worked on solutions because we knew that the county knew for 6 years that those drought management plans that every single municipality in the AMA of Phoenix and Tucson were assembling because they knew that that train was heading towards them. Because the Bureau of Land Management and the feds told them that Lake Mead is dropping and dropping and dropping, and it is overextended, and the dominoes are going to start falling, and guess where the first domino is going to fall? It's going to fall in Verde Foothills, because you have no government structure other than the county and the state. That is the deal that you made by living out there. But you better get your act together. You've got 6 years before probably the Tier 1 is declared. Things really started getting heated up about 4 years ago, right? That's when we really knew that Lake Mead was getting precipitously low. Yesterday, we were still at 182 feet under its normal capacity. All this rain, it's great for the SRP reservoirs, but those are tiny, tiny little thimblefuls compared to what Lake Powell and Lake Mead serves. California is number 1 in the line. Nevada, city of Las Vegas, you want to see freaking out? They are putting in systems that recycle and reclaim 90% of their water there. They're tearing out lawns, grass, the whole deal. You know why? Because they can see Lake Mead in their backyard, and they are, bricks. They understand that they are 90% dependent on Lake Mead. We here are 50% dependent on Lake Mead and CAP. They're looking at the Hoover Dam not being able to operate past 2025. That is no joke. That is why the city of Scottsdale, the city of Glendale, Mesa, Peoria, Tucson, every single one of them, the Avondales, all of them, are a part of that AMA. And they have been working hard for the last 8 years, shoving as much water into those underground aquifers as they possibly can, because they know the amount that their population needs in order to survive. City of Scottsdale has every right to provide for its citizens and its businesses. Their build-out year is planned 2055. They know how much water they're going to need, and they've put in cutting-edge technology to be able to serve their businesses and tax-paying residents through that year. Now, if we compare ourselves to Scottsdale or Rio Verde or any of these piped communities, you're on a pipe dream. May I put that forth? We are not piped here. We will never be piped. And because of that, the water that we're given will never be recycled or reclaimed. It will be wasted into the desert as far as Scottsdale is concerned. We will never fill their aquifers. So they know when they are providing water to us, that it goes into our perched aquifers, which are not the deepest, spongiest aquifers, and it will never be seen by Scottsdale again. But they have offered to negotiate with the city and the county. It's no joke. We are in a free fall right now. We're no longer hanging on to the cliff edge, right? We are suspended out over the Grand Canyon of air. And we are starting to go down in direct relation to the temperatures going up. We're 80 degrees this week, next week. In 1 month, we'll be 90 degrees. And another month after that, 100 degrees. We need potable water now. The AG's office has made that possible. Direct connect to the county. We need our voices and our hardships and suffering to be heard. We don't have time for this poker game or multi-level chess game, whatever you want, where the Board of Supervisors has put a gamble with our lives, our property, and our futures as the chips on the table. It is not right, and it is unfair, and perhaps, just as John said, perhaps negligent in a criminal way. It depends on how deep our hardships become, because our lives and our health depend on it, and that's why the AG's office offered that opinion. As residents of an unincorporated county island, and that is what we are, nothing more. We are the citizens of Maricopa County. We're not Scottsdale. We never will be Scottsdale. Whoever put that forth as their plan that they were going to annex us, you're magical thinking. We're not the Verdes. We're not Fountain Hills. We're the county, period. Now, my family and I want the county to directly negotiate with the city of Scottsdale immediately to provide life-sustaining water to our community. It is their legally empowered duty to do so. Just as Scottsdale has a fiduciary responsibility to protect and provide for their taxpaying residents and businesses, the county carries the same fiduciary responsibilities to us, their taxpaying citizens. Scottsdale will not sign contracts with EPCOR, period. End of magical thinking that they will. No matter how much you shame them, no matter how many arrows and insults and things that you put on social media or in the general media, nationally, internationally, they're not going to back down. That is their savings account. That is like going to a neighbor who has invested in their retirement account and you haven't put any money in yours, and then suddenly you realize you don't have anything to live on. And you go to your neighbor and you say, hey, you've got a lot, why don't you give me some? It's not going to happen. You at best, all of us, get that in our heads. Just as Scottsdale has that going, we have to really convince the county that they are also responsible for us in the same way. That State Attorney General has offered an opinion to safeguard our very health and well-being as Arizona citizens by offering that opinion. because our health, our lives, and that of the ones we love, our livestock, our very homes, depends on it. And Chris Mays knows that. So as an emergency water provider, the county is now answerable to us on one end. The city of Scottsdale would be procuring and processing on the other end. There is no need for a middleman. And there is water. Scottsdale has plenty of contracts, and there will be water. That's all that matters, is the direct connect that can be made as soon as they get to the negotiating table and get down to the bare facts of it. I'm looking at all of you. We're truly suffering, those of us who have had no water, to really reach out easily to. We're going to be facing deeper hardships as the weather starts to turn towards those triple digits. Chairman Hickman of the Maricopa Board of Supervisors stated 12 days ago that hopefully we will have water for you by the summer. That's 90 plus days from now. How many of you have got tanks that are getting close to being empty? How many are going to be able to afford $400, $500, $800, $1,000 per month? We say this is not acceptable. We call for the County Board of Supervisors to immediately go to the table, negotiate, and sign the intergovernmental agreement that is perfectly, absolutely common and required between intergovernmental agencies in order for deals to be made and not to be sued for $100 million like Bullhead City got to pay in January of 2021. Scottsdale will not put their citizens or businesses in that type of liability, that risk, on behalf of us, who have had the audacity to sling all sorts of insults and then sue them. The county is responsible to us. To not provide us interim water immediately from a negotiated agreement through an intergovernmental agency agreement is a vicious abrogation of their duty to protect us, their citizens. I know that my husband and I are going to sign that petition tonight. All it says is that we want the county to go to the table and start negotiating, like the state legislators are urging them to do. And that petition supports that. We've got to get that spigot turned back on Jomax. And we've got to do it now, before those triple digits hit, or we're sunk. Thank you, Lee.